Welcome back. Think I'm going to do a little bit of a different format today. Thanks for stopping by, Tyler and Anthony. Appreciate it. Thanks for showing up, Aaron. Bendels. I don't know why, Bendels, but whenever you message, it shows up on one of my chat screens, but not the other one. So I can't. There it is. It was just lagging. Yeah, so I think I want to start by whatever the thumbnail is, kind of do a little bit of a dive on that player before I go into a tournament. Today, we're going to talk about Calvin Ridley a little bit. And I'm pretty in on Calvin Ridley. I've been on him the whole time. I think I'm like 14% or something. But for some reasons, I kind of like him. Number one, Kevin Zeitler rated the number 3 guard in the league last year by PFF. They signed him in free agency. Adding one elite offensive lineman will boost the level of the rest of the offensive line. So with that, and with them almost assuredly taking Cam Ward, he should definitely have a better offense. And if you this list right here is just points for by team for the year. Last year the Titans only scored 311 points, and with the offensive line upgrade, a huge quarterback upgrade, I expect that to go way up, and their yards and everything as well. So that's one reason I'm in on Calvin Ridley. Another reason is because he's pretty much very reliable. Like he's not missed many games in his career. Last year he didn't miss a single game. In 2023 he didn't miss a single game. 2022 he missed from the gambling suspension. 2021 he also missed the back half because of the gambling suspension, and I think in 2019 he got hurt for a couple games, but for the most part he's been healthy for most of his career. That doesn't mean he definitely will be this year, but with with all those things, and then you go look at his points, he did only average 9.91 points a game last year. So, oh, welcome Anthony, best ball on call. And with the offense as bad as that was, like, and him being the only relevant receiver, like 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns is pretty solid. And this column in green here is the number of nuclear weeks, spike weeks, usable weeks, and then this blue column is number of weeks he was top 5, top 10, top 20, top 30. And when he hit pretty heavy, right? He had 2 weeks where he was over like 23 points, and he had 4 weeks where he was over 17 points, and he had 2 weeks in the top 5 of all receivers. And those are you kind of want players like that mixed in. And that's just my thoughts on Calvin Ridley. Uh, but anyway, it's time to queue up for a big board. I'll be entering in 10 seconds or so if anybody wants to get in. I'm not sure what other people think on Calvin Ridley. It's just some basic information, just things I kind of looked at. All right. 11 more spots. So plenty of time if anybody wishes to join. Yeah, I like Ridley Spotlight. He's a vertical receiver and is about to get a quarterback who specializes in throwing the ball downfield. Right, yeah, and on top of him being the vertical receiver, like this class has a bunch of really good wide receivers from the slot, supposedly. Like if Luther Burden or Egbuka, I think Egbuka could do anything. one of them should be available in the second round. That would absolutely help free him up. Uh, they could just, if they take Cam Ward, go with an offensive lineman like I think his name is Zabel, because center is one of the spots they could definitely upgrade. And if they did that, I mean, if they plan on taking Restrepo to pair back with Cam Ward, which a bunch of teams have done things like that, like Restrepo, I know people are all in or all out on him right now, but doing something like that, like, would significantly improve the offense, and they will probably add more than one weapon, considering that their wide receiver two right now is an injured Traylon Burks. Even got you guys to a clean, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you get lucky. Oh, it's no problem, Anthony. I appreciate the effort. So yeah, Calvin Ridley though, I'm where he goes in the drafts as well, around like George Pickens, who also has a bunch of concerns. He just got a bunch of he got legit competition with DK Metcalf. Ricky Pearsall, who's a huge question mark as well. Like Jawan Jennings and Pearsall, I mean, they're everybody in that area has a bunch of questions. And if you want something that's more consistent with upside, I think that Calvin Ridley could be that guy. Now, I could definitely be wrong. I was wrong several spots last year. I was right several spots last year, but hopefully this fills pretty soon. The plan is to do one of these. Oh, you're gonna multi. Did you get the last spot in the one before this, Aaron? Talking about multi-tabling, I am actually. I've told Anthony this. He's been in a couple of my streams before I really told anybody about it, and oh yeah, he's definitely here for the community, Aaron. I'm actually working on a list right now. I've got 7 items on it, but sometime next week I'm gonna do a stream where the first part of it's not even going to be drafting, but it's just going to be going over the things I believe were the mistakes I made last year within best ball. So I have a list. I've been working on some of the things, and multi-tabling has made the list. Not that it's not doable, but in certain ways, it's sometimes it's fine and other times it's not. And I like, at least for me, like, you have to know your limits. And it's really awful when you get the 12 hole in one and then the one hole in the next, and all of your picks are always together, you know, like that makes it pretty rough. Oh, yep. That's that is definitely what's happening here. Aaron Sandy and me will definitely be the advancing teams. Down to one. I'm actually hoping to get some picks at the back half of the draft. I've been doing a lot of DK drafts, and I'm having a really hard time to get a pick past 5. Like, I'm continually getting 1 through 5. I have like 26% Bijan, 12% Justin Jefferson, and like 12% Jamar Chase. And I actually prefer the back end of the draft to this. This is actually my most disliked pick on the board. But we got the 104. Aaron Sandy has the 109. Hit him with the gritty here. Mike Boldak, I believe that's how you pronounce it, at the 108. I'm not familiar with any of the other names. If anybody else is here and wish to out themselves, you may go ahead. curious what I've been been in rooms with Gritty a couple times, and sometimes he does the elite quarterback stuff. Other time he goes zero wide receiver. It seems like he's mixing up builds quite often. I mean, kind of like what I did yesterday. I definitely didn't do anything conventional. I'm not sure I landed the plane, but I tried something different. I don't think it turned out awful, but I also don't think it was my best performance. JJ at 1 is unique. Aaron is at the 109. Purple background. And Gritty is at the 8. Am I going to get Ja'Marr Chase at the 104? Like, I hope this is a Saquon Barkley drafter right here. Or a Bijan Robinson drafter. Well, I will take it. This is the first time I've seen Ja'Marr Chase fall past pick 2. So, yeah, Nico too. Like, the pulling up somebody from the back end to get unique, that's perfectly fine, right? I don't want to do it all the time. I have done it a little bit. When I've done it, I've been choosing Brian Thomas Jr. to do it with because him and Amon are probably the two I would want to do it with the most because Neighbors goes kind of all over. Nico goes around the 4 every once in a while or earlier in the cycle. I've seen that quite a bit. So before they traded Laramie Tunsil, like it was a more reasonable thing. And when I flip the board, I want to make sure that I'm flipping it to something that hasn't happened. And Brian Thomas Jr. has been at the back half most of the time, and so has Amon Ra. So if I'm going to flip the board, those are the two that I'm personally going to bring up. Not that this is wrong. Christian McCaffrey, that does not surprise me. That Christian McCaffrey news from the, or little tidbit from the Matthew Berry post yesterday, like, definitely got me thinking about it a little bit. But I will, if he moves up to here, I'm still out until after the draft. Yeah, I am very excited about this. Yeah. Thank you for showing up, Omega King. I've seen Omega once or twice, at least once, maybe twice in the DraftKings streets. After this draft, if it goes at a reasonable pace, I will probably load up a DraftKings after this. I think that's gonna be my what I'm gonna do if I do two drafts. I'm gonna do one underdog and then a DraftKings since I think I'm at 19 DraftKings and I'm wanting to get to a minimum 50. Yeah, right now the overlay is going to be nuts, and right now like the fill rate's going up like crazy, but that's because all of the degens like me, and I think Omega King would probably say he is as well. Like we're all over there making sure that we get a bunch of entries in for the overlay. So it's going to fill fast until people like us are out of entries, right? And then it might slow down. Kind of like how this draft or this went, like the big board. Some people, like Ben Haskell, ended up running out of entries pretty early. And once it got to the point that people could be out of entries, the fill rate did slow down a little bit. T. Higgins got pulled up there. This is I don't know that I've seen very many times that Jonathan Taylor. Apparently, I have a couple Jonathan Taylor with Jamar Chase teams already, but I'll go ahead and take it. I still love Jonathan Taylor. So T Higgins goes here over JT. I have no problem pulling T Higgins up anywhere at the back end of the first round. Like, I think that's perfectly acceptable. I think in the two drafts I've done with Gritty, he's had this exact same start. I did two other ones. I know for a fact one of them he had Christian McCaffrey, AJ Brown, and he is a players takes drafter. Sandy has Puka Nacua, Brock Bowers. That is just a very strong start. There's definitely some uniqueness here. And like what Kev 101 did, Nico Collins here, he pulled him up, but he took two players who don't get past 31 very often, right? Like if you're going to bring a player up, you need to draft those players. I think I just go ahead and take Tyreek Hill here. I kind of like DJ Moore a little more. But I think I just go ahead and play the ADP game since it started with some ADP falling with Jamar Chase. See if I can't get a little bit of value within this draft. But yeah, going back to what Kev done, like when I brought Brian Thomas up, a lot of the time it's to pair specifically with Trey McBride or Bucky Irving. Because the wide receivers kind of go, or T Higgins, like the wide receivers are kind of go all over from JSN all the way down to like Marvin Harrison and Worthy. So it's hard to be unique when drafting those players. But Jacobs, McBride, Bucky Irving, and T Higgins seem to go in this part of the draft all the time. Anthony says, every time I come back to the screen, there is more wildness. Man, what an interesting draft. Yeah, it is. And I don't think anybody's done anything to like completely ruin their team yet either. Like if McCaffrey's healthy, this is absolutely worth the pick, right? If they don't draft somebody, Trent Williams is healthy and McCaffrey's healthy all season, like that's absolutely worth that pick. And then those two picks are great. Aaron Sandy, Puka, Bowers, Evans, like that's strong. So nobody's out of pocket, but people have been moving other players around the board. And it's fun. It's fun to be in a draft that has a little uniqueness. Another thing I was wanting to bring up is Breece Hall. Like the news came out that they want to use all three backs, and Breece Hall's been falling. But if Breece Hall's falling, shouldn't Braylon Allen be coming up in price? Like if people are scared of Breece Hall, you would think that those same people would be more interested in Braylon Allen. But I haven't seen Braylon Allen's price come up. So I actually moved Braylon Allen up in my ranks a little bit just because, like, if that is true, I have like 10% Breece. If that is true, I kind of want, like, I think you get Braylon Allen at like 185. Nothing bad, just unique and different. No one in the room cares about the ADP. Those are the best rooms to draft in. That's correct. And the closer you get to the end of any tournament, the more uniqueness you start seeing because you know what the unique pairings are, and you're probably bored of drafting Jefferson, Jacobs, McBride over and over again, or whatever the ADP says to do. I mean, I would absolutely love to get Hampton here. I doubt I do. I might, because he has two running backs and he is a red badge, but he took Hampton. I think I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm in on just buying a bunch of Rashee Rice. He's supposed to be healthy for the training camp. There was actually a note there. On track for training camp in July. So, yeah, if he's on track for training camp in July, that means when his suspension happens, assuming he gets suspended, which he probably should, that it'll happen at the beginning of the season. You should hit us with the top 3 unique starts you've done this year. Well, if you didn't watch my video from last week, I'm going to say that one is up there. I'm not sure I quite landed the plane. I think I made a team that worked, but it definitely wasn't a very, like, something I feel confident in. Hey, thanks for stopping back by, Tyler. If you're just now, Ja'Marr Chase at 4 in this room, kind of wild. Well, I think I just take the naked Jalen Hurts here. Tush push, back in business. I'm fine with that. If I don't get a stack, it's perfectly fine. I don't have a bunch of Hurts. As you've seen, I had 5%, and almost all of that is with A.J. Brown. Welcome back, Victor. Yeah, Chase at 4 is awesome. Alvin Kamara, he on DK, his ADP, I mean, it is full point PPR, so he has a lot more value. He goes at like 48 over here where Joe Mixon did. And I'm kind of not out on it. It doesn't feel good, but doesn't mean I'm out, you know. So Aaron Sandy has Puka, Brock Bowers, Mike Evans, Xavier Worthy, Kenneth Walker, a very solid start. I'm not sure where Sandy has Puka, but I actually have Puka as my wide receiver 3 for the most part. Hey, thanks for stopping by off the Schneid. And while I have a minute, I'm going to go ahead and give shout outs to Off the Schneid, Tyler, PPR Tyler, who I'm sure will stop in at some point, but all of them have given me shout outs. So is Best Ball Guy. I appreciate it a lot. I absolutely love this community. It's a good time. Everybody's pretty lighthearted with things. We all have takes. We all, have things that we think other people are wrong on, but we're all wrong on some things. So I'm glad everybody is supportive. Yeah, it's a nice little cast today. His injury history scares you, but talent wise, he's top 5. Are you talking about Kenneth Walker? Because I could see that. Like, it's his offensive line that actually worries me more than anything. They definitely want to run the ball. Much deserved. Yep, just be right. Just be more right than you are wrong. That's yep. And I don't know if you've seen what happened at the beginning of this draft, but for some reason, Jamar Chase fell to 4. That's definitely the first time I've seen that. I haven't even seen that on DraftKings, and DraftKings is, as we know, the Wild West. Yeah, that's pretty generous of you. Now, Chuba at 67. That is that's crazy. All right, I think here I don't know exactly what I want to do. I might go Jaden Reed. I think I go Jaden Reed. Having Rasheed Rice, I'm going to need a little bit more firepower at wide receiver. I'm not actually completely sold on Tyreek Hill for this year, which part of that's I'm being scared because I had him over CD Lamb last year, and then he was hurt part of the season, and Tua got concussed again. Okay, he was actually referring to Puka foot and leg injuries. Yeah, yeah, and that is it is scary. Like it's not like he's really been incredibly healthy in the NFL too, right? Um, when he's out there, he is absolutely insane though. Like I think the not positive, but it kind of looked like when he came back last year, it took him a few weeks to actually be healthy too. But once he was fully healthy and they moved him, like I think when he finally got fully healthy is when they moved him into the motion routes that Cooper Cup was running previously, and that's when he went pretty nutty on on the season. And with that upside, and I'm assuming they're going to run him in that same role, and that's why they brought Devontae Adams because he can do all the X receiver stuff, right? Yeah. Well, I was debating between Quinshawn Judkins and the other players, so we'll go ahead and smash Quinshawn here. We have Jalen Hurts naked, Jonathan Taylor, Quinshawn Judkins, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Rasheed Rice, Jaden Reed. Yeah, and Anthony is right here. Puka plays a very tough brand of football. Like he's always going to be blocking. Like I think he just likes to hit people. Like the way he runs around, it's fun. It's just fun to watch. He never looks fully in control in my eyes. Like he kind of looks like he's just out there doing stuff, and that stuff works. Like a little kid who doesn't know where they're going. Well, I mean, he obviously knows where he's going on his routes and stuff, but once he gets the ball, it's pretty chaotic. It feels chaotic. Travis Hunter continues to climb. In Liam and Davis' stream earlier today, he went at like 75 or something. He went up here somewhere. Cooper Cup, I love Cooper Cup as a player. I can't get behind him anymore. Like at this ADP, like I don't know, it feels like he got really kind of like Kelsey last year. Like it looked like they got slow at the end of the season. The true reason Puka's cry pregame is because he knows he has to be hurt people soon. Yeah, he's a great soul. That is for sure. Like I'm sure he's one of those people that everyone likes when they meet. You know, like he feels like a wholesome soul. Let's look and see. Sandy's added Jawan Jennings, Aaron Jones, and Mahomes. So I don't have a tight end yet. I think I'm fine with that. I'm super into Steph Diggs. I will, and especially on a team with Rasheed Rice, like I want to make sure I have a high floor at the beginning of the season since I'm expecting this to not be there for 6 weeks. It gives me a backstack option. So I need an option because Mahomes went, Hurts. I'll probably take Goddard later. But like I don't love Tua, so Jordan Love and Drake May. It gives me the round after this one. I'll have a chance at one of those two coming back. Aaron Jones is your guy. What is your exposure on Aaron Jones? I do see you taking him quite a bit. And yeah, they Vikings upgraded their O line in a big way this offseason. Yeah, they did, just like the Titans. And I'm a I'm a true believer for offensive line. I think that's the only way to start building a franchise. That's just my personal take. I don't think that there's another way. I don't know that I don't have like any Jonnu Smith. And I'm not sure that Tyreek and Jonnu actually both work in the same like in the same season. I think if Jonnu's game is working, Tyreek's game might not be, and if Tyreek's game is working, Jonnu's might not be. But I could be wrong. Like Mike McDaniel has been very good on offense before. He could probably figure out how to use those weapons. Aaron Jones will walk so Jordan Mason can run. Offensive line is why Bryce looked better. Correct. In in pro, both Vikings running backs. Oh, your pro, both Vikings running backs. They got two massive upgrades at the O line, and they were 14-2. Yeah, and I'm gonna assume that JJ McCarthy's better at avoiding pressure than Sam Darnold. I know it's a pretty tall bar, but I'm gonna go ahead and guess that that's a thing that happens, which should lead to a few more passes, maybe to running backs. I don't. I can't really say anything on that for sure, but just in theory. Hey, welcome, Al Boogie. BBM Monster, I think finished 11th. Hey, it's much appreciated. I mean, I probably have more to learn from you than you do from me, but I'm here for a good time. You know, everyone loves the Red Rocket. I seen a pretty funny meme the other day where it was showing a bunch of crowns and they pulled out a pink one and it said dog wiener on it. It's like that's it said this is what you get when you shop at Dollar Tree or something. It was pretty great. I'm not sure if they color matched it. I didn't look that closely. Get Drake May back. That's exactly what I wanted. Hey, thank you. So the team Naked Hurts, Drake May, JT Judkins, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Rashee Rice, Jaden Reed, Steph Diggs, Jonnu Smith. So I kind of need another running back, but I don't like the ones that are here too well. I think I'll just go ahead and take the fall on David Njoku. The only reason he's falling is because Kenny Pickett's currently his quarterback. And we don't necessarily know any what the answer is going to be. If I were to guess, it's going to be Kirk Cousins. Hey, that is awesome. That's batting 100. I thought about Tucker Craft. I'm pretty overweight Tucker Craft, and it would have given me a team correlation with Jaden Reed. But I do like Njoku. Like talent wise, Njoku to me is stronger than Evan Ingram or Tucker Craft. I don't plan on taking Tua if he comes back here. But if he is there, I might have to. And I missed this earlier. Aaron Sandy said 22% Jones. That's a stand. That is a higher percentage than I have on any veteran running back. I'm probably a little embarrassed to tell you what my number one veteran running back is. I think it is Isaac Garendo purely because I was fading CMC at 16%. So I just doubled up his because I was fading CMC. I still can't find myself to take Tootin in round 11. 12 and 13, I can see it. I'm not sure he's going to get day 2 capital. If he gets day 2 capital, it's absolutely worth it. If he doesn't, like I don't really know if it will be worth it. He had I think 9 fumbles at Virginia Tech. I think it was over 2 seasons. I can't remember exactly. I believe it was over 2 seasons. He had 9 fumbles. And that's something NFL teams just aren't going to deal with, right? That's one of those. I mean, look at Dylan Laube, right? Like, fumbling absolutely cost him. So I do think that I just go with the third quarterback here. Only because I also have Jonnu. If I didn't have a double stack, I actually don't know how many fumbles Genty had. I'm sure you know. I think he had a few, but yeah. I mean, one of my favorite running backs of all time was one of the worst players ever when it came to fumbles, and that's Jamaal Charles. I think he still is, but when he retired and up until at least 2023, Jamaal Charles led NFL history in yards per carry. Hey, thank you for finding the channel, Scott. I hope you enjoy. So I could take Dallas Goedert and hope that they don't trade, but I think I'm fine there. I'm pretty into Carolina's offense being better. I know this is above where I have Rico ranked quite a bit above where other people do. And as a, I need a running back three. I need somebody who is probably going to guarantee some touches. And after that, I can start taking shots. I really like the start of this running back room. Oh, is he actually your most drafted player now? Whenever he moved up to round 12, I I've drafted them like twice. I had 15% of them before people were hip to him, and I'm down to like 10% now. Genty had 9 fumbles, but out of 700 touches, 12, and I mean that's still an acceptable rate. It's not the best, but yeah, yeah. One thing I know for sure is you say the name Genty, and Cody will just appear from out of a bush, right? Like he'll be like, "Hey, somebody like Ashton Genty." Yeah. So you were just guessing. I uh I've not been able, like, I'm not very good yet at maneuvering through Pro Football Focus because the way that they format all of their things, like you have to go to different pages to find different information instead of just having all of it accessible from the player profile page. So I haven't really found a good way to look up their fumbles because it's like in a spot that I don't ever get to by looking up the other things. That is truly remarkable. 1 in 666. That is two remarkable numbers. 1 and 666. Aaron Sandy takes Dallas Goddard. I the Goddard slides like feel kind of ridiculous. If I would have been sure Goddard would be here there, I probably would have taken Tajay Spears here. And I'm not like saying Tootin can't work out. I just think that it's semi risky that he does not get good draft capital. So I do need another running back. I have Rashad White a little higher. I think Rashad White is, I think his role's kind of locked in. I know they say they want to use Tucker a little bit more, and maybe they do, but Rashad White's one of the best pass blocking running backs in the league. So I highly doubt that they will be like he won't have a role at the minimum. And he had, I think it was 51 receptions last year. Yeah, I'm glad you agree with that because I have a really hard time finding them. I spent like 2 hours one day looking, and I found like two of them, and I don't even know if they have all that information. So I think I want to get. I'll go ahead and get a little team correlation with Alec Pierce. Been a while since I took a wide receiver. A lot of adults in this room. Whenever I take Rashee Rice, I tend to take less of the other rookies, just purely because I want to make sure I can supplement his lack of production early season. The next two wide receivers I take are almost assured to be rookies. 100% with you on Henderson, best running back in the class. I I don't I don't agree. I'm still all in on Genty. Uh, I know a lot of people like there are some people who are worried about it. I'm not super worried about it. I think he's gonna go a team that drafts a running back in the top 12 is they're absolutely going to uh to use that back. Yeah, I oh it's all good. It took me a second. I figured it out. We'll look through Aaron Sandy's team again. Puka, Brock Bowers, Mike Evans, Xavier Worthy, Kenneth Walker, Jawan Jennings, Aaron Jones, Mahomes stacked with Worthy, Darnell Mooney, double stack with Kelsey, Tajay Spear, got the Puka stack as well with Stafford, Dallas Goddard, great value, Geno Smith with Bowers, Braylon Allen, almost like somebody was talking about it before the show or during the show. I think you kind of were kind of in on Braylon either way, but I do think it's kind of silly that with Brees Hall falling, that Braylon isn't rising. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I've not been taking a lot of Damian Martinez lately. Like I know I got 34%, but I was at 40 some percent about a month ago. But on this team, I I kind of need a fifth wide running back, and I think there's a gigantic teardrop after Martinez. Just my take. So a running back got Jonathan Taylor, Quinshon Judkins, Dowdle, Rashad White, Damian Martinez. I feel pretty comfortable with that. As soon as the coaches speak highly, he's going to rise. Yeah, and I said it several weeks ago. I It's not out of the question for Braylon Al or for Brees Hall to get traded. Like he's on the last year of his rookie deal. They got a new coaching staff. New coaching staffs like to bring in their own players. Um, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but it's one of those things that if it happens, I'm not going to be shocked at all. And if that happens, you want to have at minimum 10% Braylon Allen. You could see Braylon going 160s or closer. I think he could end up moving up to like way up because if there actually starts to be steam that there's a trade or if something crazy happens at the draft with the trade. So I was saying I needed to add some youth. Jack Besh up near the top of my rankings. I love Jack Besh. We'll add him to this. Jack, thank you. Been here the whole stream. Dropping a comment to boost the algo. Pure trooper right there. But I like if and if it doesn't happen, like let's say that is something that is possible or likely to happen with Brees. If it doesn't happen at the like near the draft, it'd be one of those things that if the Jets are bad mid-season, he would get traded purely to get something for somebody that they don't plan on re-signing. And I assume this year we have a lot more injuries at running back than we did last year. And maybe a team loses somebody like James Conner or something, and that team's in playoff contention, and that all they need is to ship a fourth round pick for a player that the other team doesn't want to use for the next season. And then Braylon Allen's an absolute smash wherever he is. It's a lot of wish casting. And I put the chances of this at like definitely under 10%, but it is a possibility. Agree with the Martinez take, only 20% yourself, but Jarquez, yes, there is. I a player I didn't watch much on, and once I watched him, I kind of got into is Trevor Etienne. I thought he was just being boosted up because of his brother and all that. And after watching him, he looks very quick, like very decisive, very quick. I was out. I didn't take a single share of him until like draft 100, or well, I guess it'd be like 145 or so, including the little boards. But as a last round pick, with how explosive he is, um, I think it is Travion Henderson, Cam Scatabo, or Damian Martinez. Yes, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Well, Demario Douglas is still here, stacked. Why not, right? 20 picks past ADP, 15 stacked. Like I'm fine with that. So need one more tight end. You could see Jordan Whittington have a Jawan Jennings season like Devontae Adams or Luke Puka. Oh, absolutely. Like it's really weird how all offseason last year McVay was talking about Whittington, and then he crushed in the preseason game, and then they used it once or twice, and after that they stopped using him, and all of a sudden, like whenever he listed the studs of the offense, he left off Cooper Kupp because they were wanting to trade him, but they also left off Whittington, and then they went out and signed Devontae Adams. Like that to me is kind of a red flag. Like I bet they're going to be into drafting a wide receiver in the mid rounds. Not that I want that to happen. I don't have anything against him. I think I'm going to go ahead and take my running back here, and I'm going to do something a little wild at the end of this. This could be a Will Shipley team. Have Jalen Hurts. I think I go ahead and just do that. And I think I'm going to do something a little different with my last pick. Something I'm not going to advise you to do, but something I'm going to do. J.K. Dobbins, like that's a possibility too. Need to dig up some more on, but you're thinking Tez Johnson to the Rams. Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like a guy that he would be into. That was a win now trade for a super contending team. I think Whittington's future is bright. I don't think Adams was traded for. He was just signed in free agency. So back to Kansas, this right here. There is so Rashee Rice, whenever we drafted him that year in the draft process, so Kansas City is really good about hiding what they actually want. Like it's hard to hide that we want offensive line or tackles because that's such a glaring hole. And their skill sets are like, I feel like like which one you like. Like Andy Reid has a type. He wants the small school guy who he can build, right, on offensive line. But when it comes to skill positions, like whenever we took Rashee Rice, there was reports out that Mahomes worked out with all of these receivers. Zay Jones or Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers went up in the rankings, in my opinion, purely because of that, and because he was talking about how great he looked. Quentin Johnson worked out with Mahomes. So did Rashee Rice. But you never heard a single word about Rashee Rice working out with the Chiefs until after the draft happened. And after the draft happened, Mahomes and our GM said, yeah, we liked him the most. And we told him not to let anybody know. Or that I remember hearing this story. I'm not positive it's true, but it makes sense. Like, Mahomes was very happy. Rashee Rice was the receiver he liked the most of the ones he'd worked out with that year. And after the Sky Moore debacle, I'm not sure why they would have believed him with Rashee Rice, but they did. Seems to work out. Uh, but I feel like that's something Kansas City actually tries to do is like actively put out information to not let people know what they want. We're gonna stack Grant Calcaterra here at the end. I don't think Dallas Goedert gets traded, but if he does, it's because they like Calcaterra. I don't have this is my very first share of him this season, but on a team that I feel like is pretty solid from top to bottom, adding a very, very low owned guy who stacks with my quarterback, I don't mind it. Here shortly, Goddard is a band aid if he's even there. I mean, he was he was a tight end one a couple weeks. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Ben. This draft's over. I'm gonna review my team. I'll go over Aaron Sandys if he wants as well, and then I'm gonna enter a DK draft if anybody wants to stay around. All right, so we'll try to go over my team, see if it reloads. Jalen Hurts, Drake May, Tua, Jonathan Taylor, Quinshon Judkins, Rico Dowdle, Rashad White, Damian Martinez, Will Shipley, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Rashee Rice, Jaden Reed, Stephon Diggs, Alec Pierce, Jack Best, Demario Douglas. I have a double stack with New England. I have a double stack with the Dolphins with Jonnu, Njoku, and Calcaterra. Calcaterra being my lone receiving piece with Jalen Hurts, and then I tacked on Shipley. That's my team. We'll go over Aaron Sandy's team. Do you call him Ron? Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, Tajay Spears, Braylon Allen, Jaden Blue, Lan Larison, local hero of PPR Tyler's chat, Puka Nakua, Mike Evans, Xavier Worthy, Juwan Jennings, Darnell Mooney, Wandell Robinson, Michael Wilson, Jordan Whittington, stacked, Brock Bowers, Kelsey, Dallas Goedert. Yeah, that's a very solid team. Whittington, I mean, you're right. If one of those guys get hurt, Whittington like could definitely fill in. I'm going to go ahead and go to DraftKings. If anybody wants to enter, I will be entering in about 10 seconds. Need to take a little drink. 6 of 12 here. Yeah, Whittington does play like Puka. That reckless abandon that we as football fans love to watch. Whenever we get into the lobby, I'll probably have to move my screen around a little bit. It's very clunky to stream DraftKings just because of the way the interface is. And I have 30 more underdog drafts to do. I think I'm going to hit it pretty hard next week, but I don't want to run out of things to do. And I definitely want to do one underdog every time I stream. And I'm probably going to do 4 p.m. Central most days. On Mondays, I probably will do 3 p.m. I believe the last 3 weeks, Tyler and Tom for Fantasy Sanctuary stream at 4. I don't want to interfere with that, so I'll just move it up to 3, and then I'll probably do 4 o'clock Central on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on days I don't have to go in for overtime. Think the big board will fill before the draft? Absolutely. Yeah, it's 75% full already. Got to head out. Still at work. Keep up the great work. Hey, thank you, Ben. Definitely thanks for stopping by. If anybody's in here haven't liked or subscribed, please do so. DraftKings doesn't actually update, so we're at 10. Yeah, so it's kind of so yesterday my thumbnail was Omarion Hampton talking about how he would rise. And the draft happened, and I realized after the whole stream, it wasn't some elaborate April Fool's thing to where I'd never even talked about him the whole time. But I had that weird Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, where I was like, screw it, let's add in Lamar and just kind of be done at these two positions and draft deep in the rest of it. And when that happened, I completely forgot about it. But so what I was going to talk about yesterday is, well, we're in here. I'll get back to that in a minute. I don't know anybody's username here. I'm at the 112. I actually love the 112 on DK. You have people bringing up Derrick Henry into the first round on a full PPR site and some different things happening all the time. You can get like, I've got like Brian Thomas and Neighbors down here. Like it feels really good to be at the 12 hole on DraftKings, I think. And then all the quarterbacks, all the elites go usually by 31. Sometimes even Hurts. So yeah, with Hampton, like looking through the NFL and the teams that would take a running back in the first round, it's hard to see a spot, like a single landing spot in the first round or even early second round if he happens to slide, that his draft capital isn't going to go up from 40 where it's at right now after the draft. Like Broncos, he moves up what, 10 spots? Steelers, he might move up. Steelers, he moves up a few spots. Like we know Arthur Smith wants to run the hell out of the ball. Chargers, I don't know that they would do it, getting Najee, but it'd be a split backfield. But I think it'd be pretty obvious that Hampton would eventually, at least by the playoff weeks, take over that role a little more. I just think it's pretty unlikely he lands on a team that he's not going to, at minimum, split carries, or a team that is going to run the ball a whole bunch. Like I don't see a team like Carolina drafting him, or or Atlanta or anything like that. Only way Hampton or Genty ADP goes down is if they're drafted into a split backfield, which is very unlikely. Yeah, and I mean, Genty has a little bit of a risk of going to the Saints where they love a pass catching, they already have a pass catching running back, and they have brought him in for a visit and all that. Like that's the worst case scenario. I don't really think that's a thing that's going to happen. Um, I mean, just because you visit a player doesn't mean you want them. So I don't think that's going to happen. But if that happens, that's going to ruin Genty's for sure. But I mean, to be fair about that, like if Hampton goes to the Saints, like I think that's a fine spot because he doesn't do what Alvin Kamara does, right? You'd have the like he's a little better inside the tackle running, and you could still have Kamara there as a receiving back, and you'd have a veteran to teach him things. Like I think by the end of the season, Hampton would be a pretty solid play even there. Like losing Genty. So yep, Derrick Henry goes, but that was the only one that was different. So I'm going to end up with you need two of those random players to go there. I've been talking up Genty quite a bit. I think I'll go ahead and go Genty here. So this is full PPR. I moved Lad McConkey way up. I guess 16 is not way up, but I had a hard time not putting McConkey before London, but because of the full PPR. But London, like I don't want to have zero London. London's fantastic. He's such a good pick. Yeah, so it's like 50-50, but Derrick Henry almost always goes in the first round on DK. So it makes the 12 pick feel so much better. And I also have Achane moved up on DraftKings, obviously, because he's a receiving threat. If anybody is in the room, let me know so we like I have the same handle here that I do on Underdog and pretty much everywhere. All the video games I used to play, everything like Tax Masters. So yesterday joined a random DK draft and PPR Tyler was in it and Gamblestein DX Filer was in it, and there was a guy at the two hole. Like DraftKings, they do not censor usernames apparently, because the guy in the two holes name was bitches ain't shit. It's like, and then that player just continually took unstacked quarterbacks. He took like four of them. It was pretty great. Josh Allen goes at 22. That's pretty par for the course here. Yeah, it was it was hilarious, and I was also talking with Gamblestein through Discord at the time, and he was raging because like he was super mad that that guy just kept sniping him. I felt pretty bad because it feels bad whenever it happens. He started like taking guys that he might kind of want and not pushing people around the corner because he knew pretty early that it was gonna go bad. I think I like the other draft that I multi-tab better. Honestly, Daniel stacked with Scary Terry and Ertz. That's hard to do. The only reason I take Terry is to try to stack with Daniels. Like, if I can't, I'm not big on Terry at ADP. If it's not on the back half of the board, I personally won't take it. McCarthy stacked with Aaron Jones, Jefferson, and Addison. Kyler stacked with McBride. That's a good team. That's a really good team. And yeah, I don't know if I convinced you a little on Ridley. I don't remember who everybody likes. I know that I have like 14 to 15% on Ridley. So I don't, and the community as a whole is slowly getting more into Ridley. And hey, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your time with the family. Yeah, man, that season he had with Matt Ryan, where he had 1,300 yards, and then like what 4 weeks into the next seasons when he did the gambling thing, like I was so in on him that year he got busted for gambling. Hey, thank you for stopping by. Actually, seen Hartman, I think in a DraftKings. Yeah, he was in a DraftKings draft with me last night as well. All right, I have Genty, Brian Thomas. I don't have much Devonte Adams on this website. I'll go ahead and take him. And it is full PP. I think I just go ahead and take the olds, right? We'll just take a couple olds. Hopefully get some guaranteed catches. Number one targets on their offense. Yeah, here he is. He's here to defend himself. And it was warranted. It absolutely was. Hey, thanks for showing up. First time I've seen Meat Gazer and Hulk Smash Potatoes. Appreciate stopping by. And thanks for the compliment, Meat Gazer. Yeah, Ridley's air yards are nuts. And yeah, I with the offensive line upgrades, like at the very beginning of this video, I actually went over like reasons why I like him. I think that's gonna, like I said, I think I'm gonna start whatever my thumbnail is before I get into a draft to let people filter in a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and uh, just discuss on the player on the thumbnail and why I think what I think on them, and then filter into a draft. But kind of went over like how they upgraded their offensive line. Like they got the number 3 ranked offensive lineman or guard by PFF's ranks, and how that's gonna help. Like they drafted, I can't remember his name, J.C. Latham last year, and he was pretty solid for a rookie. But having one elite offensive lineman helps the rest of that offensive line tremendously. And it just kind of went into that and how they scored very few points last year, but their offensive line play was not, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't good. And how that should definitely affect the running and passing game there. Yeah. Yeah, I said Ashton Genty's name earlier and Cody off the schneid appeared. He was in and out. I'm just kind of joking about that, but yeah, I think I'm gonna try to do weekdays at 4 p.m. Central most days. Like Monday through, or at least Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, I he you just hadn't said anything for a little bit, but I get it. I get completely sidetracked while I'm listening to people sometimes. Don't tempt us. Yeah, I mean, listening to him talk about that two hole was pretty epic. So as far as we'll pay a little bit more attention to the draft, the 10 hole, I assume that's a high tee start, right? Pretty high tee. Henry, McCaffrey, James Cook, Brees Hall. What is it? Minus 500. He takes a fifth. What running back right here? Seeing this makes me very happy I grabbed Genty over Bowers. He did not. He went tight end. I love that on DK, McMillan goes all the way back here. And I think I just take two rookies here. We'll have a heavy rookie team. I didn't have very many on my underdog team. You wish you had the stunt to go full zero wide receiver. I've did it, and it definitely feels like you're behind the whole time. I don't get grabbing Genty and Bowers at the turn. It's to try to team correlate. It's people projecting that. The main problem is if Evans, Worthy, Harrison, Adams all don't make it back, like it feels really bad. Get a set schedule and you'll have your regulars coming through. Right, exactly. And like when I work overtime during the weeks, I'll basically instead of starting at 4, I'll start at like 4:15 is kind of what'll happen. I have an hour drive and I'd get off an hour before that. Yeah. For anybody who's in here who's not subscribed to Off the Schneid, it's a great channel. He go give him a like, a follow, or go give him a follow. I'm assuming everyone here is already there. But if you are not, I really like the content. He does not care what the consensus thinks. He has his own opinions. He does his own research. It's pretty good research. I agree. I actually agree with quite a bit of it. We differ on like Genty, um, and a couple other players, but I mean you're always going to differ with some people. Oh yeah, more Genty hate. It's that's what's on tap on the Off the Schneid network. You come in, you sit down, you ask what's on tap, and it's just fuming Genty. That's all you see. You've eaten about 2,000 calories worth of scotcheroos today. What's your? I I've been on a diet for a long time, for about a year and a half. I was 364 pounds a year and a half ago, and I'm down to 260 or 257 or something right now. So I don't snack very often. I mostly like meats, like a hard salami or uh, some kind of nuts, like mixed nuts, deluxe mixed nuts. CMC and Derrick Henry just went in the top 10. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I did. Like I love the 12 hole on DK because of stuff like that. All right, we'll see. I do not like the team look here, so I don't have a quarterback. I'm assuming Baker's gone. Baker's always gone on DK. Drake May goes very late, considering all the early quarterbacks that go. It feels weird. George Pickens. I'm not a huge fan, but pick 84 will sign me up. What? And we'll go ahead and take Tony Pollard as well. I like Pollard quite a bit more than Jaylen Warren. Yes, exactly. And Derrick Henry, every single draft goes in the top 11. Um, I can say I'm not in. Yeah, I remember you're a butcher. I've started. I grill all the time now. Like I finally bought a smoker. I'm gonna start messing around with that. You wake up at 5 a.m. for work some days and can barely keep your eyes open. Yeah, it's hard to stay awake at work whenever you stay up all night watching best ball. I have that problem. I'm not saying you do, but I definitely have that problem. Yep, Gamble's in here. I know you two have been friends for a while. Like I know Gamble Stein actually sent you my link a while back. He told me he did. He's like, "Hey, do you know Al Boogie?" I'm like, "Funny you should ask." That's pretty great. Seems almost every rookie goes later on DK. Yeah. Uh, I will bring up the wide receiver rankings and scroll down a little bit, and I'll show you Iomanner 207, Isaiah Bond 201, Knoll 192, Restrepo 218, Besh 216, Royals 218, Kyle Williams about the same, Savion Williams about the same, and then Trey Harris is Jaden Higgins 158. As you can see, I have a bit 32%. Trey Harris is 160. Hey, sure thing, will do. I'm actually I'm most of the way done. I have a channel I'm gonna set up as well, or like a Discord just to chill. Restrepo, goodbye, low value. I really liked Restrepo at every place he's been. I have so much of him. I have 20% on underdog, and I'll probably take him a little bit here, maybe get my 8%, but I'm overexposed enough that I don't want to lean into the uncertainty on DK as well. Like, and I pretty much stopped taking him altogether on underdog. But if I wasn't overexposed, I would be loving that. And I'm definitely going to be taking some Harold Fannin on DK. Like I'm not like Ben Haskell by any means. I don't have, I'm going to assume he has 40 or 50%. I had like 10% or so. I think I'm down to like 8 on underdog. I do take him here and there. I mean, full PPR does matter. So some of the quarterbacks that I like, I don't know if I should just go ahead and take Trevor Lawrence. I really like my team right now. In DK, it's very, very easy to just get completely boxed out at quarterback. I'm going to take a look at the quarterbacks. He goes after my next pick, so I'm going to assume I can get him. We'll take Drake May. I don't have a tight end yet. And yes, I'll just go ahead and take Mark Andrews. So for now, I have Drake May, Ashton Genty, Travion Henderson, Tony Pollard. That's a very solid running back room already. Brian Thomas Jr., Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Tet, Pickens, Andrews. Now, Now is just to pray that. Oh man, actually, I probably should have taken. I missed that. That's a mistake by me. I should have just went ahead and taken Trevor Lawrence here. This Christian Kirk drafter is absolutely going to take him at 131. So that was a really good play by him, if that's what he's going to do. And that's the little things that I need to do a little bit better job of. I got decent at it last year, but I bet that person takes Trevor Lawrence right there, and that's fine. Like it's not like that's the right move. Restrepo in round 20 on DK seems great. Yeah, I mean, there's a if Restrepo works out, he's probably gonna be an what a 70, 80 catch, like low yardage guy. Like like I he's gonna be a slot guy who gets open, doesn't get a ton of yak. He took Christian Kirk at 107, the pick right before mine. So, and he only has Dak Prescott right now. So that's why I think he will take Kirk. Oh, yeah. Yeah, true. Yep. Good point. Some of us are paying attention. I just assume, yeah, I just assume I'm going to get sniped on DK every time. Right. Like, I still don't think I get T Law back. His ADP is 139. So that's what I was looking at. But people like to take him and then backsack him with Brett Strange. Yeah, just absolutely, it does not matter. That's why I have 25% Drake May, because it matters less if you get him stacked, right? And since his ADP is 120, he's always available in round, what is that, round 11? And I mean, I think he's a great pick. Like, I'm surprised Drake May doesn't go earlier. Right. Yeah, I rarely do try to float on DK. Um, but this player does also only have one quarterback, and I don't think he has Dak Prescott stacked. So that's a red flag for me as well. I mean, he's my favorite quarterback value on underdog as well. Like I have I think it's night I might be over 20% Drake May now on underdog, and 25% here, but I've only done what is it? I've done 19 drafts so far. This is my 20th. Minor success there. Go ahead and take him. Might end up taking the running back to pair with it. I feel really good about those receivers. I think I just go ahead and take Tank Bigsby. I'm one of those weirdos who has Tank Bigsby and ETN kind of rated the same. I think Tank Bigsby will take over the Bucky Irving role. He's a much better runner to me than ETN, and ETN will take over the Rachaad White role in the Liam Cohen offense. Now they can both be on the field at the same time. I think it was called the Texas route stuff, or the it was a Texas formation. I can't remember what they called it, but they had one where they basically had Bucky and Tank on the field quite a bit. Yeah, and both are really good picks if they don't add somebody. And if I think it's a 50-50, I'm probably going to and one of them is 2 rounds later, I'm probably just going to take the one that's cheaper, right? Now, I do have some, like, I have some ETN. I don't not take him. I'm at my 8%. Quarter, like, just getting 2 quarterbacks that you're okay with on DK, that's it's not even half the battle. That's like 75% of the battle. Like, it is such a uphill climb. And other than that, like, and with all of the wide receivers going, like Io Manor going at 202, Royals at 217, Besh at 217, with all of that stuff, like, it's fine to pull up like Trevor Lawrence a round or two to guarantee, like, if you have a double stack going, just to guarantee that you don't get your double stack ruined by somebody, because there's more value at the end of drafts on DK than there is on underdog. Yeah, 2 quarterbacks is half the battle. And getting them stacked makes it like insanely, like, it's insanely hard to stack your number one receiver with your quarterback unless you just go a little bit above ADP. Looking for any oddities. Yeah, so something else. Luther Burden goes at 105, and then Golden and Egbuka go at the 90s, and that is every single draft on DK. Every single draft in DK, Golden and Egbuka go over here, and Burden goes over here. Like 2 full rounds after they do an underdog. And knowing where those lines are to hit is huge. Like, I'm more likely to go heavy running back on DK because I know I can get this round and a half value on Golden, Egbuka, or Burden. Like, if I'm just willing to take them over here at the beginning of this round, like, which is an 8 spot difference, you're almost guaranteed to get one. Like, you're almost guaranteed to get one of the two. And if you don't have a major difference between them, it's a minor edge that I feel like I can push on DK. Not sure what I want to come back around here. I'm probably going to go ahead and just pull Hunter Henry all the way up because I highly doubt he makes it back to 180, 181. And Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris go. That's rare. I've got one of them in almost every single DK draft I've done. Go ahead and yeah, I'll go ahead and just pull him up. My running backs are fine for now. Wide receiver. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Ray Davis. There's uncertainty with James Cook anymore. Like, I don't think anything comes of it, but there's definitely a little bit of uncertainty with Davis or with James Cook. Yeah, so I was right. This player did stack up Christian Kirk. See, I knew all along he was going to stack up Christian Kirk. I just had the teams wrong. Yeah, nothing really crazy. I still can't get in on Javonte Williams. Can anybody talk me into Javonte Williams? Anybody? Like, give me a reason why I should take Javonte at 145. Ray Davis has solid standalone value too. Absolutely. Like, he paid off this ADP last year, I believe. I'll bring up this chart real quick. I'll talk you off a cliff before. Yeah. So I guess not. I guess he didn't have any huge weeks last year, but he had 442 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 7 usable weeks, and he was top 20 twice. But I mean, he was learning the offense last year, uh, and James Cook ran like extremely hot on long touchdowns. Best argument for Javonte is either they add no one, or the rookie they add is a total bust, so you're out on him. Like, I think it's very likely that if Javonte is their opening day starter, that Jerry Jones signs Zeke again. Like, I, I'm not saying that like I know this, but I would absolutely not be surprised. They're like, hey, we have this Javonte guy. Hey Zeke, you think you can come back? I mean, Javonte isn't that bad. To be fair, like he is actually a really good pass blocker. I think the Cowboys roll the dice on day two, mid round guy. Yeah, they've been linked to a lot of running backs, and I could see like Dylan Sampson going there in the third. Like if Dylan Sampson's available in the third, Zeke could be the sixth O lineman in the backfield. You guess? Yeah, like kind of like Debo. All right, I didn't. I got 2 5 5 2. I should probably get some wide receivers here. I think I'll sort by this. I think I go ahead and get a double stack with Douglas and I'll take Jalen Knoll here as the rookie. Yeah, Caleb. Like I don't know how much zone running the Cowboys do. I don't actually. I never did look that up. But if they zone run a lot, Caleb Williams could make or Caleb Johnson could make a lot of sense. Was that DJ Giddens? Is that where Giddens went? Or was it no, I'm thinking of Devin Neal was Kansas, right? Where did Giddens go? I can't remember Giddens' school. Okay. So it was Giddens. Okay. I thought so, but I that's really good information there. And yeah, with their third round pick, that actually that fits, right? Like and Giddens is the opposite of Javante as well. By he has man, I jest about Javante, but his rookie year was fun, wasn't it? Like I don't know who all really liked his rookie year. He looked awesome in his rookie year. I actually the year that he tore his ACL, like that year he tore his ACL, I actually took over a dynasty team That's where I was headed. I just didn't say it. But yeah, I took over a dynasty team, a rebuild team. Like it was really bad, and they only had Javonte Williams and like a bunch of guys that would be comparable to like Juwan Jennings this year. And it was a super flex league, and I traded. The same team had Justin Herbert and Mahomes, and I sent them a 4-for-1 and said pick a quarterback. I will. They also had I think they had Lamar or something too. Like it was nutty. I'm like, pick one of those two quarterbacks. I'll send you 4 players for them. Like, and basically reset with just that player. And then that season is when Javonte, like, it was like 2 weeks after I traded Javonte is when his injury happened. Felt a little bad, but I would have been completely dead in that league had that not happened. So Damian Martinez, like I have so much Martinez that I'm glad every draft he goes before I pick because I just need to stop. It's kind of likely that he ends up going day 3. It's 50-50 on end of day 2 or day 3. Dream landing spot would be Kansas City. In all fairness, you're super high on Javonte too. The injury destroyed him, much like Dom. Yeah, absolutely. Like the injury ruined his explosiveness for sure. Like, and there's been several players like that, right? Like where you see them, they dominate, and then as soon as they have an injury, they just can't. They're never the same. And it's really sad if it's like after their first year or in the middle of their second year because you never what could have been, right? Like Javonte, he looked like he could have been not necessarily an all time great, but a really really strong player for a long time. I have 2 quarterbacks. Yeah, I don't Drake May, Lauren. I don't love just those 2 quarterbacks, but it's DK. I All right. I think I go ahead and take. We'll mix it up. We'll take Royals this draft. I probably should have actually taken Russell Wilson and Darius Slayton. That's a mistake by me. I'll go ahead and just take Russell Wilson, get a third quarterback in there. I'll be able to like my tight ends are fine, Mark Andrews and Hunter Henry. I'll I highly doubt that Theo Johnson goes. So my plan is to take Theo Johnson here at the end, and then to throw in like a Jarquez in at the end. Do you have a hard limit on max exposure to a given player? I don't, but like so in the big board, like in the big board last year, I had 45% Rico Dowdles in 40 drafts. Um, I thought at pick 190, even if he's the backup, it was perfectly fine. It absolutely paid off. I didn't end up getting a team to the finals. The Chase Brown slide hurt because I had like Chase Brown was my number 2 most drafted. I don't remember exactly. I think he was my number 2, and I had 2 teams at the semis out of 40 teams or something. So Yeah. Yeah, that's I hadn't got there, but right. Like if you're only going to do if you're doing 150, you probably want to be a little closer to flat. If you're doing 25, just get your guys. Like enjoy it. Yeah, and if the price doesn't make sense to you, exploit it. And another part of this is it's not even the not only the amount of drafts you do, but it's also the round of the draft it's in. Like I will never be over 20% a player that goes in the top 5 rounds. I won't say ever, and I actually can't say that because I think I'm over 20% Hampton. But like in the first 2 rounds, I never want to be over like 16%, 17%. Like that's the goal. If I'm over a little, that's fine. Um, but those are scarier fades because like my zero CMC is so I can get to 16% Bowers and Genty. Um, which I felt pretty good about until the Matthew Berryard thing came out. Now I'm not feeling as good about it, but that's fine. I can correct it after the draft. Um, but the further down the board you get, like for me personally, the better I feel about having a bigger stand. Juwan Johnson, like Rashid was your biggest exposure ever. What could have been, man? Like I got rocked last year in a lot of ways with injuries. And earlier I said, and I've been working on it. I have a list right now, but I'm going to do a video probably next week. And it's just going to be things that I believe I done wrong last year and like to help other people not make those same mistakes that I believe that I made. And some of it will definitely go into like exposure stuff. And I might be wrong on some of the stuff, but that's what the entire chat's for. Like talking through everything, try to make the community better, right? Each year, your highest exposures tend to be the late round zero RB guys, but generally 20-25% over 150. I should have been 100% Tootin while he's a 20th round pick. And like to be the real answer, hey, thanks PPR Tyler for stopping by. He will be going live here very shortly. As soon as I am done, I'm definitely going to head over there myself. All right, so I need Johnson here and a running back. So yeah, we'll take Jarquez Hunter here. Why do you hate? Yeah, like how you have to go back and forth and do all that stuff. I will say, drafting on DK feels 100 times better on your phone. There, but then you don't have your overlays, right? Like so, it it's better, but it's not good. Yes, that's actually what I got sidetracked by. It's all about risk tolerance. If you're willing to throw your $3,750 on Best Ball Mania, all on CMC in the first round, that's on you. Like if you're willing to do that, like willing to like if he's hurt, you just kind of lose. Aaron's pick of you looks a million times like Antonio Espariandi. That's is that a comedian? I will definitely Google. I think I know who that is, but I'm not positive. If you're willing to be hit him with a gritty, go for it. Correct. Yeah, and a lot. Yeah, risk tolerance is everything. You set whatever you want your parameters to be, and like Pat Corrain last year had, I think it was like 70% or something crazy of Drake May. Oh, he's a poker player. Um, well, it's gonna restart here very shortly because after I go over my team, it's gonna reload into not live. But I'm gonna be at PPR Tyler's stream, and I think everybody should go there as well. And that's another thing about DK that's not great is it auto kicks you out of the. Maybe it didn't. Maybe I clicked leave. But we'll go over the team once I find it. I think it's this one. It was not this one. I guess it hadn't updated yet. Nope. Okay, here it is. So yeah, I use the Spike Week tool. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue using it or what. It's for Firefox. I use Firefox mostly, so that gives me this view. All right, quarterbacks: Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, Russell Wilson. Running backs: Ashton Jeanty, Travion Henderson, Tony Pollard, Tank Bigsby, Ray Davis, Jarquez Roger. Wide receivers: Brian Thomas Jr. stacked, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Tet McMillan, George Pickens, Demario Douglas, Jalen Knoll, Jalen Royals. Tight ends: Mark Andrews, Hunter Henry, and Theo Johnson. Well, it's a good thing the stream is over because the tornado sirens are going off. So I'll be in the chat with everybody over PPR Tyler's. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great night.